Hello, welcome to the Back Pocket 2021 Video Game Awards for Excellence in Video Games, as voted on by us, the hosts of the Back Pocket 2021 Video Game Awards for Excellence in Video Games. I'm Nick.
I'm Steph.
I'm Gus. I went way early on that one. I'm Peter.
And today it's Wrap It Up.
Yep.
Because we're talking about the games that we are going to be playing this holiday, potentially games that we'll be wrapping up that we wanted to finish and didn't have time, or games where we want to wrap up the year by going, hey, this is something that came out this year that I missed and I want to check out.
Something you could fit in and around the holiday period. You get little pockets of gaming. You might have a chunk of days in a row that you can just binge and go hard on something.
Yeah.
I got one for each, I think.
We've each picked two. I've got like 12 in my head, but
Yeah.
we've each just come with two that we want to talk about. So who do we want to start with? What order do we have? Do you care?
No.
Because Will's calling the footage?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter at all. Gus, kick us off.
Sure. A game that came out halfway through the year to much praise, I believe, was Loop Hero. And it has found its way onto the Switch, my desired platform for Doom.
The Witcher.
For The Witcher 3, for Doom. No, for great little pixel art games, little pocket experiences, and this was one that I was really keen to check out, but it was not something I was keen to sit on my computer and play. So it's moved its way to Switch, and from the hour or two that I played of it, I think it works really well. We're watching the PC version here, but it uses touchscreen and a very good little like shortcut with shoulder buttons to get you up to your tiles and get you onto the board with a very it works well. It mouse and keyboard translated to Switch can be tricky. It seems to work really well so far. I am now discovering how the game plays, having watched and listened to so many people talk about it and say what they like about it, and I'm seeing that loop that is very addictive. I'm still getting my head around some of the stuff to do with there seems to be a lot of negative things you can bring to the loop, to the board, but you're trying to counter them with positives.
You're pretty much always bringing any tile you place is pretty much a negative in that it is something you're going to have to combat.
Yes.
But you are strategizing how you space out that combat and what kind of combat lands on the board.
So by that, I mean, I'm really enjoying discovering this thing that a lot of people have talked about. And I was like, oh, I kind of misinterpreted what I thought this game was. So it's nice to have something that I will take away with me. It is going to be that thing I have it's what I'm going to play before bed while I'm staying with my family. It's I'm just going to get in a few.
Seems like it's a good Switch game.
Yeah, and I think it can be, played in chunks, and that'll be ideal.
Can I make a recommendation?
Please.
If you have not looked up any information specifically, just look up placement of mountains and things outside of the loop, not the enemies.
Yep.
Because there is a ton of strategies of when you put 9 of these things together, it forms a different thing that the game does not really tell you.
Yeah.
So it's worth looking that up because you're going to create so many less headaches.
So
That said, though,
quality of life advice.
But I'm kind of looking for something to chew up a bit of time. That's what sort of...
and that's the kind of stuff you stumble upon
I reject
eventually.
your help and suggestions.
I'm not interested in any quality of life.
You definitely
slog on
stumble
my
upon
own.
that stuff eventually, but it is it's stuff that just is it becomes second nature that you build in those things in those ways. But
oh, look, I know exactly what you mean. I will look that up because the ones that are frustrating versus the ones that are a fun discovery. I can see what you're saying. It's that way and that way. But yeah, as I said, being portable, I don't love the art style. That did turn me off originally when I saw it all. I was like, oh, I like my Shovel Knight pixel art games versus this very kind of DOS port game that is super retro.
Seriously retro.
It's retro to the time where games were pretty ugly, but I think, the gameplay loop is there, and it is really fun, and so it's going to be something to kill a lot of time over the holidays.
Cool. Yeah. Peter, what's going to be killing your time?
I'm going to finally play Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I've played 10 hours of it, but then I stopped. I love Assassin's Creed games, but it's so easy to skip one. I didn't play Odyssey. I played the first hour of Odyssey, and I was like, I wasn't not enjoying it. I was like, I do not have the fucking energy for this.
It's daunting. It's taking on a life.
Yeah.
A full life.
Totally.
You just look at it and you go, my God, I need to play this for 4 hours a day for the next 3 months.
Yeah, totally. And so I love the design of Valhalla, and I really like that it is it's the third iteration of this new era of Assassin's Creed, and by this point, by all accounts, they've made something pretty special. Not every Assassin's Creed game is special, but I'm really keen to actually play through more of this one. I'm not going to 100% it. I think the only one I've done that with is Black Flag, and Black Flag is a much smaller game than this.
Well, what's interesting is that this came out a couple of years ago, but it's been relevant in the sense that I would really recommend.
Content.
There's been heaps of content coming out for it, and I would really recommend maybe to get back into it is start with the Wrath of the Druids, which is the DLC that came out this year for Ireland, where you go to a self-contained area and kind of relearn how the game plays, but with some new enemy types. It's a nice way to get like a bite-sized version of it and come back in that style, and then be like, cool, I'm ready to take on the open world. But between that and there's been all these little like festivals that they've been dropping throughout the year. I think one
Siege of Paris as well, DLC.
Siege of Paris is out too, and then there is a third one I think that they've yet to announce or
slated.
Is slated. And then there was a crossover just the last 2 weeks ago with Odyssey.
Yes.
So in terms of like start with that stuff and work backwards.
There's still content, and it might be more manageable to get through it, and might ignite the flame that keeps me playing through the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I find this all the time. It's not specifically an Assassin's Creed thing, but like Fallout 3, I started 3 or 4 times way back in the day, and I was like, I do not have the energy for this right now.
Sometimes these games come into your life at a time when it's just like not ideal for you, and it's hard. I feel like my game that I played and enjoyed, that was the kind of big RPG for that year, was Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah.
And that kind of ended up filling that slot for me around all the other stuff that we were playing and talking about, and the online multiplayer stuff that I was doing a lot more in lockdown because I just wanted the social interaction. So I didn't finish this either, and I would love to go back to it. I just don't know if it's high on my priority list.
I want to do the same thing, totally. And I just looked up the DLC because there was the Wrath of the Druids and Siege of Paris as being the 2 that are already out.
Yeah.
And then the announced one that's coming out is Dawn of Ragnarok. And Ubisoft say it will add an extra 35 hours to the game.
Oh, dear Lord.
Right.
35 hours of narrative content.
That's so impressive.
Yeah,
so
it's
impressive.
ridiculous. Okay, cool. Steph, your first wrap-up game.
I want to play Back for Blood.
Yeah, cool.
As I've said previously, I really enjoyed the beta, and as soon as I finished the beta, I was like sad I didn't get to play more. And then when the game finally was released, it was kind of like towards the end of the year when things were getting really busy. So I started playing it with the Back for Buds is what we're called, our little crew.
Oh,
nice.
So delightful.
Back for Buds. So we want to go through and finish it together, and I'm hoping to be able to do that in the holidays.
It's such a horrific game too. That title. It's like
Yeah. It's like it's funny and satisfying, and I really just enjoy its take on zombie shooting in a world that is very much inspired by Left 4 Dead, but iterates on it in a new way.
In a fun way where zombie hordes mowing down is still fun. It's not your commendable, but like your Walking Dead, your Last of Us, you're like, oh god, I just can't see. They're gonna eat us and kill us. It's like not diving in and this arcade
funny one-liners, giant ridiculous monsters, but looks really nice. Like I think that's Left 4 Dead is still such a great game, but it just looks dated now.
Yeah.
It is a sign of how long we've been filming these videos that when you said Back for Buds and you went, it's such a cute name for such a horrific group. And I nearly said, yeah, you should call yourself the Back for Bloods. And I went, oh, no, wait, that's the name of the game.
Oh, Lord.
Cool. Yeah.
What a journey.
Fun game. Fun game.
Same for me, though. Like, I haven't finished all of the campaigns, so I'm keen to actually play it.
Yeah.
I love what I have played, but I haven't played it.
Something that I haven't played at all, a big miss. Both of my games are a big miss, but for me this year, Chicory, A Colourful Tale. Now I say I haven't played it. I bought it this morning on the Switch, and I've played about 20 minutes so far. I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah.
I avoided this game. So this is a sort of like, You play as
I avoided this game. Nick played this delightful child children's book. No,
No.
I won't. You
I'm
can't
scared
make
to
me.
put it on my list. The premise for this is that you play as that little puppy that is an assistant to Chicory, and Chicory is the sort of world painter who has a magic paintbrush. A cute little thing is the game asks you at the beginning, "What is your favorite food?" And I was like, I don't know, pizza. So I just put pizza there, and then 15
Are you
minutes.
choosing from multiple choice?
No. You
just
write it
write
in
it?
there, yeah, and then like 15 minutes. Then I'm like, and then it just never explains that. I'm like, what? Then 15 minutes later, I walk up to a character. The character goes, "Hey, pizza, how's it going?" I'm like, what? What? I would imagine that. I would imagine like if I knew this is what it is, I would have said my favorite food is Harold. Like, but the idea
Hey,
is that
pizza.
that it's you sort of go through and paint the world. But I avoided it because I don't really like these creative games. I don't really like going for the like paint this thing and make it look really nice.
I don't think of you as a creative.
No,
really,
that's not.
yeah.
I've never thought of myself like that. That's I don't really enjoy that sort of process. But this is actually a puzzle game, so a lot of the painting is like you paint like early on. There's trees where you paint a stump and it bursts into life and turns into a tree, and then you can
cool.
jump on the top of that tree to get to another area.
Yeah.
So it's all about using the paint
This
to bring
just
the game
looks
to life.
very tedious to me, trying to stay within the lines.
No. So I thought that as well. So this is on PC at the moment, and that person is using their mouse to do that. On the Switch, you can use your finger, which is cool.
Yeah,
But
okay.
there's actually a thing where you just press and hold, and it fills in all the color within a closed line. So
Okay.
if there's a shape, it just goes and fills it all up. So it insta paints, which is really cool. It's really adorable, super cute, fun to play, and it has been getting like 9s and 10s all year, and
Wow.
it's one of those games where I'm just like, I need to sit down.
We just
and
now know to choose the right food when we get up.
Yeah.
Yeah, now you know.
Lol,
now you
Ansel
know.
Harold.
Yeah, well, Ansel
My
Harold
favorite
on
food
behalf
is
of me.
Ball's face.
Hi, long pork. No, I said that in secret.
Amazing, Gus. Your second game.
The second game I want to put a lot of time into because I've only probably sunk about an hour to 2 hours into Forza Horizon 5. This just looked like such a wonderful, hearty meal to just a sumptuous
Fucking
feast,
game, man.
and I've only taken a little nibble. And the time I spent with it, I instantly, the second I felt those hooks of just like going from one spot to the next spot to do the next thing, I was like, oh, put it down. I've got too much on the next few weeks. I
Oh, no.
cannot.
Yeah,
I cannot. Commit the amount of time to it. But I feel like as well, summer here in Australia, like holidays, I'm going to go to the beach for the day and then I'm going to come back all sunburnt and I'm going to sit there as the sun goes down and boot this up and it's
Yeah.
just going to feel appropriate.
It is so good to pick up for 15 minutes and do one race as well. Like
Yeah.
you can just drop into this game and just do a little bit and then drop out. Like it's perfect.
And I'm yet to experience a lot of the stuff that the game was showing off as the cool experience. I drove around with some mates. We went and did a few jumps off some ramps. I didn't see a sandstorm. I haven't driven up to the volcano yet. There's all the things of it that like to be fair, I've driven in the boringest part so far of just a little desert and was like, this is fucking beautiful. And again, like things like the speed traps and stuff of going past one and being like
Turning around and go
Yeah.
back.
whoa. Hang on, I'm not done here and going
Yep.
back and doing
Totally.
that. So yeah, like
Yeah.
the 2 hours I played was meant to be a check it out for 10 minutes. And I was like, well, if I just by the law of expanding that number out, if I want to play it for 5 hours, that's 2 weeks gone. So I think this will be a very easy one to spend a lot of workless evenings
Cool.
enjoying because man, it looks pretty.
Yeah.
So good.
Top 5 in my visuals at least, maybe 5.
Maybe
Cool.
Peter.
My second game is. You've talked me into it. I'm gonna check out Metroid Dread.
Oh my goodness.
Good man.
Ah.
I may not love it.
I think you'll like it a
but
lot.
maybe
like it.
I
I think you
will.
will.
I think you'll like it a lot.
Maybe I will.
2 days, you'll finish this game.
Oh yeah, you'll start and like the way you binge through games when you're enjoying them. I think this is a very easy one to start.
When you're not on holidays.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I don't think you'll have any trouble like finding the fun in this and then being like, all right, I have to finish this now because
I think like the biggest deterrent for me is that I actually don't enjoy playing games on the Switch. Really,
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm okay with playing things that like are very casual.
Like
But as soon as there's
Animal
something like
Crossing or something.
if some like anything with like a challenge to it, I'm like this piece of shit is letting me down. Like the Joy-Cons, like it all
Yeah,
just doesn't feel
I-
like it It doesn't feel terrible, but it definitely doesn't feel great to play games with.
And
And
it
maybe
feels
I'll
weird
play
having
with the
your
Pro
hands so far
controller
apart.
separately and actually play it like plugged into a monitor.
Jokes aside
so-
for everything I've said about the Pro controller, I played this entire game on my big ass TV with a Pro controller.
Yeah.
And
might
that
do
is,
that.
I probably didn't bring that up when I mentioned how much I loved this game and I brought it up in previous lists, but like, I play a lot of Switch like that now. I know Nick is very different. You've got your OLED and you've got a lot of transit time, so it's like, that's perfect for that. But I play the Switch games I want to play, I play like it's any other console game.
Yeah.
And I play a lot of exclusives in that way because I will play Switch games because they are ported to it. I will play The Witcher in handheld mode. I will not dock that thing and play The Witcher 3 just because I'm like, look at it. It's on the screen. It works. But this is the kind of game, a lot of first-party Nintendo stuff that I would say, hook it up to a TV, plug it into your monitor, and sit there with a controller.
Yeah,
I played
think-
the entire game handheld, and I adore this game. Use the Pro controller.
Yeah.
The one flaw with it is there are so many like modifiers that you need to end up using, like modifier buttons to press to get an alternate fire or something.
Yeah.
And
The
like
bumps and
I
triggers are
honestly
terrible
felt
on
like I
the-
needed 2 more fingers. But
right.
on a bigger controller, I think that you'll be able to mentally separate those buttons a little more. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, I played it
And-
like it was an
and
Xbox
as well,
or
it's like-
PlayStation.
Yeah,
game. Like,
yeah.
Exactly what it felt
yeah,
like to me.
Yeah.
Did-
And when you're into something as well, you do squeeze it, and as soon as you start to grip the Switch,
And it
it feels
flexes.
like you're like, and it gives a little. You're like, oh.
yeah, my handheld is my loop here. I'll sit back and play a little bit of it and put it down, but like
Yeah.
in handheld mode. But no, this if you can set it up and like as I said, even on a monitor or something, it's just you'll blast through it in no time and you'll be very
great.
happy you did.
Yeah, cool.
Great game. Steph.
You would think that after a year of playing so many cooperative horror games, I wouldn't want to play them anymore, but that would be wrong because there are still so many that I want to play and more keep coming out. And so I really want to play Prop Night. It's something that I've seen people streaming. It is very scary, very funny. One of you play. It's one of the cooperative games where you're playing with other people, but one of you is monster killer, whatever. And I believe the conceit is that you can disguise yourself as any object in the game when you are the
killer?
monster.
Right.
So you could walk up to a watering can and
No, I think it's
When
the
you
other way
are the
around.
monster.
when you are the monster.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Which is great.
That makes sense.
I guess you're trying to hide from the monster
Correct,
as a
yeah.
bucket. And
In the same way that Prop Hunt
that person's
has
dead.
worked in Gary's
God.
mod and stuff like that, of like you're staying still, and it was in COD for a bit as
So
well.
the
wasn't
way
it?
Yeah,
it's in
yeah,
COD
yeah.
and I don't know what they'll do in this one, but
Yeah.
in the COD one there was a countdown and every 30 seconds everyone's prop, if you're a prop, would whistle and you could kind of dictate where they are. So I wonder if they have something similar here because if you just ran off and were a bucket, the monster's never going to find you. So there'll be, I'm sure, some device there to make it that they have an advantage.
Yeah. And I guess trying to like how well you know the maps and know the way the objects are placed within the
Totally,
world
yeah.
is going to determine how successful you are at hiding. I just think it's a really clever dynamic and it's fun. And it's funny to watch.
Oh man.
It's funny to watch these really bizarre objects moving through the
It is
space
any
without
prop-based
legs
game,
or anything. It's just like
The
it's
second they
bouncing
start
around.
moving is so funny. I'm
Clearly Dead by Daylight inspired
Yeah,
as well.
yeah.
Well, I think obviously they've added the prop thing, which I think is really clever. But I also think it's smart to go like Dead by Daylight, super cool game. I'm not giving that to a kid.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
this is
right.
a little more like
Spooky
creepy
Halloween.
monster picks up a kid and
Yeah.
puts it in a chair,
Yeah.
not like hangs
Hooks-
on and
Yeah.
hooks someone.
Puts
like,
it on a
yeah.
hook, yeah.
I am super curious, not to just speculate further, but like maybe you only have a limited amount of time to be a prop. Or
I'm sure that's
something,
probably part of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it looks
I haven't-
polished in a way that they've thought out how to use because all the other prop hunts things are like mods and kind of just a hokey engine toy with. Like I haven't seen proper.
Yeah.
Honestly, this just looks like a game about a goth dad trying to get his kids to go to bed.
Yeah.
So yeah, cool.
I'm on Eliza.
Yeah, I think it'll be fun. Anyone wants to join in?
I love
you are
prop.
welcome.
I love prop.
love
kind of
props.
games.
Okay, you have now agreed to play
2.
Prop Night with me
Yep.
and also Icarus.
Yep.
And if you don't, I will tell the world that you are a betrayer of our friendship.
We're friends.
A betrayer of our friendship!
Friendships. Let's totally do it.
And my second game is another game that I missed that so many Pocketeers have told me that I will really like, called Wildermyth. Have you guys heard of
Will the who?
Wildermyth?
No.
It is the
Portmanteau
the
of
one
two words.
reason that I have not played this game so far is it seems very Dungeons and Dragons inspired. And I care not for Dungeons and Dragons, but it is sort of narrative procedural generation, and you take a party of adventurers out and start going on a little narrative adventure and complete it, and then you start up another one and go on it, and it all builds towards a grand overarching thing. But there are thousands of possibilities of the stuff that could happen there, and apparently it's phenomenal. The stories that it tells are really fascinating. They are less about the sort of like I killed a giant beast, and more about the emotions and relationships between the characters. So
cool.
That's what kind of went, oh, okay, yeah, cool, I can go into that.
Guardians of the Dungeons of the Dragons.
A little bit. Will, if we could skip forward just a bit from this to like more of the...
Sorry, this isn't co-op. This is you can control the whole party.
Yes, you control the party, yeah.
Yep.
Sith Cat was the first one who said, like, Nick, you will love this game. And I am... This time of the year is my favorite gaming time. And I've spoken about this before, where, like, this was when I played Outer Wilds. This is when I played Bloodborne. This is when I played Dark Souls. Like, this is when I played Hitman. This is the period of time where I fall in love with a game that I think I would never like. I'm a little worried because I haven't found the game yet that I think I'm going to play. This could be it, but
Yeah.
I treasure this time where it's like I sink myself hard into a game and I don't know what that game is
I
yet.
also wonder
Yeah,
if it's,
nice.
and not to speak from a very privileged position, but it's probably the time in the year where you're playing the game for enjoyment and a little less critical thinking whirring in the background for
It's
the
totally like,
Yeah.
for what we do for work, and what we're always thinking about how do we want to display how we've enjoyed or not enjoyed
Yes,
this game.
yeah.
You can just turn that off and enjoy, or not enjoy it. But
Pressure free.
pressure-free
No
gaming.
expectation.
Exactly. So that's Wildermyth, so I'm excited for this one as well.
That's on PC only, or is it?
Yes, it's on PC
Yep.
only, yes, yeah.
Cool.
So
I'd love to play it with you.
It'd be great on Switch.
I'd love to play that as a single-player game. So that is, Peter is going to be playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla and Metroid Dread. Gus is going to be playing Loop Hero, Forza Horizon 5. Steph's going to be playing Back 4 Blood and Prop Hunt, and I'm going to be playing Chicory, A Colourful Tale, and Wildermyth. Let us know what your gaming plans are. What are you going to wrap up from 2021 in the comments below, and we'll see you soon for another Game of the Year video.